Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Tiana here once again, and I'm back for the Maxi Toys, and welcome back to my last play of Mario Party DS for the Nintendo DS. So last time, or in this case last Sunday, that we pretty much tackled through one of my least favorite boards in the entire game, known as Chemic's Library. Well, despite the fact that this was actually one of my least favorite boards in the entire game in period, but nonetheless though, I pretty much did a domination victory, thanks to the star pipe system. Whenever you're still able to actually buy 3 of those star pipes all at once during the item shop and all that kinds of stuff. So, regardless of that though, I had a pretty nice time on that board, despite it was actually one of my least favorite boards as I mentioned. So today, this was actually the 4th of December today, and even then though, that today we're about to be tackling through the grand finale board in Mario Party DS, rather than the lava themed board this time around though, especially the space themed level, unlike Mario Party 8 and even Mario Party 9, but now we're going to be taking place inside the pinball contraption known as Bowser's Pinball Machine, which is kind of interesting when it comes to this board's name. But usually speaking, that because of that, once again, just like in any other final board for Mario Party franchises, although except in Mario Party 10, and although granted Mario Party 10 got everything from the get-go, although except for unlockable characters and some additional boss fights. But even then though, that the Chaos Castle was already unlocked as soon as you boot up the game. I thought that in Mario Party 10 at first, back in June in 2015 in January, I thought they were going to bring up some story mode to the test, but unfortunately, due to the fact that they actually not to be bothered to include the story mode, which is a shame really. But even then though, I was really hoping for the story mode that comes in, but that's not the case. Okay, new minigame plus Crush. Drop a toy on Wario to win. Work with the other players to trap and squish the target. So basically self-explanatory to actually deal with the team of 3. It takes time to drop a toy, so work with your teammates to cut off Wario's escape routes. So it doesn't matter what characters you'll be playing as, or even if you're in a team of 1, it always gets at different names, depends on what characters you'll be using. So yeah, this big game is basically pretty simple. We have to drag the plushies in the little arcade machine to actually just to trap Wario inside. So even then though, it does remind me of like I was playing a toy crane game machine, but even though it does sort of reminds me of like a crane game from Mario Party 1 and 2, but except it's 1 versus 3 variation, which although it's kind of like a reverse kind of scenario, although it sort of feels a little bit more different, because for one, the team of 1 have to avoid the plushies rather than just actually become a crane at first. And then secondly, that the opponents, the team of 1, can actually move whatever they wanted to, rather than just actually tapping the A button wickedly or rapidly to actually wiggle yourself out of the crane. So a little bit different there. But anyway though, but even then though, it's kind of a little bit tricky for me in this minigame as far as I can tell, because computer opponents' cursor kept getting in my way. I'm pretty sure that's what I was going to be saying for this part right here. So anyway, so as far as Bowser's Pinball Machine is concerned, it feels more likely sorry, I can't speak today. It's kind of like a mixed mash of between skill-based and even some gambling stuff. Like, for instance, there was actually quite a lot of happening spaces that has been going on in this board, because obviously there is that one event that you probably already noticed from mainly in common is the fact that you can actually bypass these little coin roulette wheel, which if you actually get the 3 pairs in a row, that way you can actually get yourself some bunch of coins as of your reward, which is kind of cool if you ask me. But even though it needs some time to actually deal with timing based, and then although to be fair, that's most likely they usually think about it. And there's also another thing that's actually an immediate thing though, is the fact that there are tons of happening spaces, as I mentioned earlier. One, for instance, there was actually a happening space. If you actually landed onto that happening space over the top left corner, this will actually immediately go into the canyon. And sadly, I don't think I can get that star, because although I'll show you into this little canyon thing right here, even though I think Waluigi already been in there. But anyways, you can actually choose either left or right, even though it kind of reminds me of something related to Chemic's Library. But except you don't actually draw a line, instead you just have to like just pick an arrow you want, and then that's all you're supposed to do. So it's self-explanatory. Although it can be kind of helpful for you if you're actually trying to get that star space in that specific section. But even though most of the time you probably ended up going missing it, because sometimes that I always seem to actually miss that during the story mode campaign, which, speaking of story mode, I'm actually in the progression on my story mode on my own time, which I'm at the final board already, which is Bowser's Pinball Machine. So, yeah, it's a pretty interesting board to say the least, but unfortunately though, this was actually one of my second least favorite boards in the game, I have to say, because although the board itself looks pretty cool to look at, but except the only gripe I have with it is just the music. It's a little bit too cringy for my taste. But even then, I kind of prefer the Wickedest Garden music, even for the chill out, relaxing music. New record again. I believe we actually got an abundance of new records already in this playthrough, unlike in certain Mario Party Let's Plays, mainly Mario Party Island Tour and then Mario Party 9 or whatever. Now most of the time I always get just one new record type, so yeah. So there's another happening space what Warrior did manage to land on in the previous turn is the fact that he can actually just pull out the beddings of the coins he needs to actually bet for. Like, if you actually bet one of those coins, then you pretty much do like a somewhat similar fashion ways from Game Guy minigame from Mario Party 3, but except it's a lot more skill based rather than just a little bit more luck. But even then though, you're gonna have to press at the right time until you actually get either ×2 or triple amount or even fifth amount of coins as far as multiplying. But even then though, I found that to be quite tricky sometimes for me, because sometimes my timing on button presses can be a little bit slightly off a bit. And another happening space, which was consist of these little flippers, if you can see right here. It doesn't matter if you land on either the left or the right side of this little happening spaces at the beginning of the board, that what happens is that you get hit by the flipper, and then if you actually come towards that little bumper, that way this will actually reward you for 10 coins, which is kind of pleasing to look, actually just to reward you for doing so. Okay, so once again we actually have Dressed for Success again. Actually on my own time, did manage to get on research that I've managed to actually done my documentary list to see if what minigames that we have not played yet in the entire playthrough so far. Even though we actually got quite a lot of new minigames that we actually did play before, but there are some exceptions. We'll get into that as soon as we actually get into the later parts of this Let's Play, so don't worry, we'll get into that eventually. So as usual, just like in any other final boards in Mario Party Let's Plays, I'll be using Mario for the finale board. You know, as far as at this point in time, that you should expect it by now. But even then, though, self-explanatory kind of thing about it. Now, potentially, I was gonna play as one of the Mario character or Mario Guild characters until the next couple of videos or so. Probably for a later time, at least as far as I'm trying to get into that, because I like to do something different for a change. Because most of the time, I always play with most of the time male characters. Although, the only time I play as a female character in the Mario Party game was definitely Rosalina in Mario Party 10. So yeah, that's the only thing I must confess. But maybe in the next couple of videos in Mario Party DS, I'll probably pick either Peach or Daisy until... Well, not until until it gets to the minigame mode, until when I actually discuss with that. Although there's actually quite a few characters I haven't played as yet. Like, I haven't played as Waluigi yet. That will be for the next couple of videos notice. And definitely Daisy and Peach will actually be for a definite definition of next couple of videos. So I probably should just gonna do that every now and then, just because, well, I just want to showcase all the characters on screen. Well, yeah. So yeah, as you probably expected, Bowser's Pinball Machine was actually an unlockable board. In order to actually unlock it, it's pretty self-explanatory. Ah, crap. It looks like he managed to land on my coin swap hex, so that's gonna be really bad. Because not to mention, I got a crap ton of coins, but now I lose a whole bunch thanks to my hex trap. That was really my fault for that right there. Although it's not my fault, but it's just the fact that sometimes dice blocks can give you some bit of luck factor. But anyway, though, in order to actually unlock this board, it's pretty self-explanatory, just like how it does it in, you get, Bowser's Magma Mountain after when you actually play all 6 of the main boards in Mario Party 1, And then after when you do that, you need to get a whole bunch of coins until you purchase yourself Bowser's Magma Mountain Board. In order to actually buy it, you need to buy like 980 coins. It's quite a lot, actually. And then the entire final board in Mario Party 1 was definitely Internal Star. In order to get it, you need to actually reach up to your star count, into your star bank up to 100. So yeah, it's pretty standard stuff. But then in Mario Party 2, in order to actually unlock Bowser Land, you need to play all 5 of the main boards, and that's it. And then in Mario Party 3, in order to unlock Backtrack from Dual Map, and the Battle Royale map, which was Waluigi's Island, basically we have to complete story mode, and that's about it. It doesn't matter what difficulty you're going to be doing from. I think if I play as on easy, then I should be able to get these boards no problem. And Mario Party 4, Bowser's Greedily Party, just play story mode once and that's it, which is self-explanatory. And also Mario Party 5, complete the story modes for Bowser Nightmare, and also unlock that you need to play story mode, self-explanatory. Everything else is self-explanatory, like you have to complete story mode in order to unlock them. And then Mario Party 6, Clockwork Castle, you need to unlock that board by purchasing 100 stars to your star bank, which again, self-explanatory. And also that we actually, in Mario Party 7's Bowser's Enchanted Inferno, in order to unlock that board, you need to actually just play through Solo Cruise for the first time. Self-explanatory, yet again. And then Bowser's Warped Orbit, you need to actually unlock that board while basically going through Star Battle Arena for at least once, which is, again, self-explanatory. And Bowser's Station, you can either play all, you can do like, in Bowser's Station, Mario Party 9, you can do like 2 different methods. Like for one, you can either play all 5 of the main boards from the get-go first, or you can actually complete the solo campaign, either that. It's all just a matter of depends on which method you want to go for. Unless if you'd be curious to actually 100% Mario Party 9 to actually unlock the hidden unlockable characters, mainly Kamek and Shy Guy, you have to complete solo mode in order to perfect it. So, anyway. And then, yeah, that's all there is to it. And then Mario Party Island Tour, Bowser's Bizarre Volcano, in order to unlock that, you need to play through all 5 of the main boards. Well, I don't think Shy Guy's Shuffle City doesn't count, because it only counts for multiplayer or something like that. And then you already get a Chaos Castle for Mario Party 10 from the start of the game. And then Mario Party Star Rush World 4, I believe you need to actually play through just one part of the board in World 3, so that's about it. And Mario Party DS, it feels very similar from unlocking the final board, Bowser's Pinball Machine, is basically just play through the story mode at least once. So many self-explanatories going on there, ladies and gentlemen. As far as unlocking the final main boards of the Mario Party games entirely, which is kind of weird. So anyway though, I guess a few things I want to actually briefly mention about certain things is that there's actually a little bit of an update for you guys. You remember how the Christmas videos that we actually already managed to upload during back in a long time ago, mainly in the first one being the 2011 edition, and the other one which was the 2014 edition. But sadly though, or in this case, fortunately though, I managed to actually fix these 2 clips into one actual video, which what I did that right there is that I was originally going to actually, back then, I was going to be doing the one entire video clip of certain unboxing videos, mainly the Christmas videos most likely. But what happens is that I somehow did not get a YouTube partner at first, back in a long time ago. But then later on, I'm actually got the YouTube partner thanks to the, you know, I managed to actually record even a much more longer length of the video itself. But even then though, that I managed to discover there was actually an video editing software on the YouTube website, which is pretty interesting. And then as a result from that, the original versions of 2011 Christmas 2011 unboxings, especially 2014's case, originally those were the you know, first 2 split parts, but now they aren't anymore because I managed to fix this solving problem to actually just place those videos combined into one. Well, for separate editions anyway. So anyway. So yeah, I thought it was worth mentioning that, and as a result though, that Piglet recently now finished his Let's Play of Sonic Rivals 2, but even then though, back then, that originally he was going to be finishing Sonic Rivals 2 back in, during that, I would say, during that October or something, but due to the delays and stuff, but even then though, he's now recently finished that particular Let's Play for about time actually, because unlike Sonic Rivals 1, it was actually pretty simple to editing, but however in Sonic Rivals 2, it takes a lot of editing to actually do that Let's Play, as far as one Piglet managed to encounter with. But still, kind of think about it, because that could actually he could actually do a lot of cutscenes he actually works out on, and basically that's all he does. So anyway though, so we have Critter Crawler, we played this before, so even then though, I believe me and Luigi, and especially Waluigi, are doing really well here. Except Wario, because he barely touched the lava rising stuff, so that's a pretty missed opportunity for him anyway, so let's just see how we can get along for this. So, another thing I need to point out though is that I was going to actually delete I was going to be doing a deleting the Let's Play that I believe Piglet and Deathly did tackle from before back in 2014 called Super Mario Bros. 3, which was both either the NES or even the Super Nintendo version. Originally, that I was going to actually, or the other toys for that matter, was planning to do a redo on Super Mario Bros. 3, but in a different method actually, because we decided that we can actually do a the playthrough, in this case a new Let's Play, of Super Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo / Nintendo Wii version. Now you're probably thinking that how you guys could be doing the redo playthrough on Super Mario Bros. 3. Well, we can do that via the Super Mario All-Stars edition as well. So we could do 4 of those Super Mario Bros. Games to begin with, and then the Super Mario All-Stars entirely up to that. So I thought it was worth mentioning for that, because I saw Slim Kirby's playthrough on Super Mario All-Stars, and he pretty much tackled through all of the 2D Mario games on that compilation, which I found is really interesting. Especially consistent of how the fact that how I like to actually just to tackle through Super Mario All-Stars, and during an I think the only version I think we might sort of tackle on there, although we won't do it on the SNES original cartridge version, because unfortunately nowadays is that whenever I just somehow have not played the original cartridge version for a long period of time, unfortunately it will actually lose all of my data, which is a bit of unfortunate. But however, the Nintendo Wii version, however, did actually fixes that tradition, at least I think it is, that it managed to actually save your save block onto your system, which is pretty handy. But that was back then, when it comes to the cartridge games, I find anyway. So anyway, yeah, for some reason I'm having a really tough time on this coin roulette thing, 'cause sometimes my timing is a little bit too delay. But anyway though, I'll just give Luigi some coins, just for the sake of being, although at the moment right now, Wario is actually in the lead right now, which I definitely need to catch up to him though, because even though, although granted though, I already got a star to begin with, but anyway, Trace Greatjets, so we already played this before, on one hand. Actually, another thing I'd like to point out is that I somehow managed to discover that I've sort of rewatched the first part of this playthrough already, but unfortunately there's one major downside on the first part of Wiggler's Garden board, is the fact that although the first part of the sound department actually feels pretty alright, but except the rest, because I think it's some sort of like muted during the corresponding board, which we're going back into a Mario Party 2 Horror Land Part 2 territory here, folks, because although I did manage to do the video itself just fine, but unfortunately though, due to the technical difficulties like I'm still having at the moment, that I sort of managed to actually just encounter there are no many my voices coming up and during when I start the board up in Wiggler's Garden, which is a shame. So yeah, I don't think I can probably going to fix that now, because I think that I don't want to actually delete all of the views I have actually managed to encounter with, so unfortunately I'll have to stuck with this for the time being, just like how it does it when Sylvester already encountered that in Mario Party 2 Horror Land, in Part 2 anyway. And another thing, I think it's mainly due to the fact that my Rock Band mic, somehow the plug on the USB connector of my laptop came out, which I'm pretty sure that's what I was going to be saying for that part, but anyway. So, that's one thing I need to mention for that. Oh yeah, before we talk about new other things I'd like to discuss, here's another happening space in this board that, as you can see, Waluigi's managed to land it onto that plunge that, if he, depends on its either like a luck factor thing that's been going on, because you actually encountered those two different zones. One, which is the Bowser zone, which where Waluigi's managed to get onto right now, and another, which was the Star zone, which, you get like 3 happening spaces on that particular spot. But even then though, it's like more likely a 50% either the Bowser zone, or sometimes you might end up in a Star zone, which Bowser zone is more likely or unlucky route, and then the other, which was the Star zone, meaning the lucky route. So basically, if you ended up going to the Star zone, you probably ended up encounter the star block, which is very similar to how it does it as from the regular variation of the star blocks to begin with. You can either get either 1 star, 2 stars, or even 3 stars if you actually get lucky on that. So, dang it, cheap chance. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that one though. Let's just do it, I suppose. But yeah, again, it has been a week since I actually done this game for one hand, but even then though, that's because of the Let's Plays are running to actually just to get these done and over with until during this time that we actually got about 3 weeks left until Christmas is about to be coming up, and as a result, that 2016 is almost going to be over until when it gets to 2017 until next year, which I'm really looking forward to until 2017 actually. Although, there are some exceptions though, well, we'll get into that as soon as we actually come towards it. But anyway, Luigi's out, so I'm hoping... No, watch, just watch, I might just well get unlucky right there. Okay, never mind. Okay, I'll take it. So anyway, as far as 2017 is concerned, my most hyped for anyway, although... I must confess, I think we'll let the other toys, we'll discuss that and during that, the end of, or in this case, during that Christmas time, so even then, I'm not gonna spoil for this yet, so anyway. So, speaking of, oh yes! After all that, Warrior got a ton of coins to begin with, so now he managed to land on my, coin swap again, but even though, this time I'm actually getting a good chunk of coins instead of the lesser amount. Now, give me my bunch of coins, Warrior. Yes. Okay. That works quite well enough for me. But anyway though, so... yeah, if you ended up in the Bowser space, however, you have to avoid 5 happening spaces. And what happens was, if you land on the happening space on that Bowser zone to begin with, here's something that is the most unfortunate thing for players. Now, here's the thing though, if you actually just land on here like Waluigi just managed to get on here, this happens. You lose the entire coins and lose the entire star. So this means, think of the beam, coin beam from Mario Party 2 and explosion in Mario Party 3. Well, in Mario Party 2, Space Land's coin beam, and also the dynamite bomb thing in Waluigi's Island in Mario Party 3. Think of like those boards, like you get all these coins taken all the way. Well, except stars. But even then, though, this time around, though, it gets even much more extremely dangerous. Like, for instance, if you land on that, though, however, then you probably ended up screwing over. So, yeah, that's all I must invest. Like, you're pretty much going to be losing all of your coins, and also you lose all of your stars. How unfortunate. But anyway, though. Well, it's unlike me, that I pretty much avoided that part, because I don't ended up... Although sometimes I'm actually just trying to get to that star zone, but sometimes I might actually ended up in the Bowser zone, most likely, when I play this game in my own time. Especially in story mode's case. But even then, I don't want to let that happen, and during some situations like this. Excuse me. I have to, like, cough it away from that, microphone, so I really do apologize for that. But anyway, study 4, so I think we played this before, so I was hoping I could actually get ourselves a high score for this time around, or as far as I was hoping for anyway, although it's not anything possible in this version. So anyway though, come on, there we go. Huh. Did I get a new record? Let's just see. Oh, yeah, I have. New record! I love doing that. So yeah, I've now finally managed to win on that minigame for at least once. as far as I can tell, because of the, you know, sometimes I always get in bad timing and stuff when it comes to getting that dang red line, but sometimes it can be impossible to see, and, you know, the Wii U's Virtual Console version re-release, unlike the actual DS cartridge of the game, which still. So, yeah, what happens was, in that particular Bowser Zone, just completely avoid it at all times. Unless if you keep a hold of your star pipe at all times, then you can probably avoid that entirely, which seems more likely it will be handy for you if you actually try to do so. So, anyway. I apologize for that little briefing right there, because I was almost run out of breath for that discussion. So, anyway though, let's see how Luigi gets. He actually gets his quite a lot of rare items, I think I have to say. Well, usually the triple dice set. What? How come you get rid of your star pipes, Luigi? What a waste. What a waste of your rare item. And you pretty much got yourself a coin block just to begin with, so that's a thing. Although, granted though, Luigi, you haven't got enough coins just to begin with, so you probably have to go all the way around again, which it's probably best for you not to waste your coins again. Oh, jeez, Luigi, you managed to get a second coin block on exactly the same spot. Jeez, how lucky you are. Probably Luigi might have become even much more luckier than one day. Okay, so I'm going to place my hex trap over to here, so just in case if someone lands on it, if I'm assuming that's what this is going, so... And thankfully though, I managed to purchase my third star, which is kind of convenient. So yeah, let's talk about some news stuff that has been going on since the past few days or something. Recently that Super Mario Maker for Nintendo 3DS, you know when Piglet already discussed that in Sonic Rivals 2 extra video, that it recently did came out during worldwide, including Australia version yesterday, but somehow the reviews of that particular version is actually quite good, even though it still wasn't as perfect as the console counterpart, but even then I'll discuss more into that as soon as we actually get to it. So, Shorty Scores, a new minigame we'll be playing. Work with your partner to get as many balls into the other team's goal as possible. The goalkeepers move left and right automatically. You can punch other players to get the ball away from them, and they can do the same to you. So, yeah, it does sort of reminds me of something related to the ice hockey minigame in Mario Party 5, and as well as the Dunk Bros from Mario Party 6, and especially ice moves from Mario Party 7. But except that we're not actually doing basketball, even ice hockey as a result, we're doing a somewhat of a mini football table, which I'm presuming what this environment is actually based off of. Because, usually because we're in a tiny formation compared to the larger variation, so even then, we pretty much go do a whole lot of interactive stuff here in the huge world, so... Could we be imagining if that was gonna happen during the next Sonic game just to begin with? Or it does attempt to do that already in The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap, but even then though, you have to like constantly transform into yourself into Minish and then the normal itself sometimes, when occasionally you just have to deal with certain puzzles in The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. But even then, it's kind of like a similar thing here, but except that you're in tiny formation for the whole entire time. Although, granted though, I'll explain more into the story until we actually just showcase the story mode cutscenes and during the... although, I will have to admit though, after the boards themselves in Mario Party DS, I'll probably have to tackle through the story mode, as including boss battles as well, so even then if I can, before I jump into the minigame mode... Oh yes, eat my stars, Waddle! So you pretty much got 0 stars right now. This might be my lucky day now. As far as I was expecting, because I usually constantly placing my hex traps all over the place. Jeez. Anyway. So, yeah, let's talk about some news things actually. Sorry for a bit of a delay for that situation. Recently, I managed to discover a new trailer that I'm mostly excited for from the PlayStation 4, excluding PlayStation 4 Pro for 4K quality, and that game is actually honors to Crash Bandicoot HD Collection, although it's now calls it Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, which, if you know what this game is all about, is basically 3 Crash Bandicoot games all in HD mode, and I'm really hyping for that game because I usually got all 3 of the main trilogy on the PlayStation 3 as far as the download version, including the PlayStation Portable as well, so I can have some full experiences on a handheld. And I can probably get that PlayStation 4 version because of the although I was expecting to actually bring up some new features according to what it says on the during the interview of the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy compilation, that it contains some exclusive features like the auto-save system, which is, quite frankly, it might actually work out better in the first Crash Bandicoot, because the only problem I have with the original first Crash Bandicoot game on the PlayStation, in order to actually save your profile, you need to be sure you can actually just get your gem first, or you can actually reach into the bonus room, and or in this case the end of the bonus room, which it kind of feels more likely a busy work or something, but even then though, that's probably that little the thing is too much emphasis on the too much more work to do, which that's probably the reason why that there's a little bit of a reason. So anyway, and also another thing's been added into the Crash Bandicoot the Insane Trilogy. That's another thing's been added is the time trials, which I'm pretty sure that Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped already has that as an introduction to time trials. But even then, I'm pretty sure it might fully added it into Crash Bandicoot 1 and even Crash Bandicoot 2, which I'm really excited for that, especially when that happens. So and also it actually has a fleshed out HD cutscene, which I found is really pleasing to look at, especially how fluid how the animations work out this time around. And even then though, that I was really I was probably concerned I was going to be doing a playthrough on that, but even though we don't know exactly yet, because even then though, that we're not exactly sure what the actual final release date was yet, but even then though, I was expecting it will actually be revealed during some time in spring or summer, even depends. Although granted though, I was mostly well granted, until next month that there's going to be a Nintendo Switch presentation coming up until next month, in this case the first ever year in 2017, so even then I'm mostly be very curious to see how the launch titles are going to be lined up for it on Nintendo Switch or Nintendo NX as far as it's coded, but now it's called Nintendo Switch because it's more likely a Delta for it. But anyway, so yeah, I'm really excited for Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy to be revealed, and as a result though, another game that's been actually announced during the PlayStation Experience from the 2016 during December the 3rd, and that game was actually the Wipeout Collection, which it contains the first game, the second game, and the third game, which I'm assuming the first game on HD, and I'm pretty sure the second game was called Plus, I'm assuming, although I may be wrong about that, and then the third one is 2048, which was based off of the PlayStation Vita game, but even then though, I'm thinking it'll probably I was hoping for it actually going to fix some issues, more likely the long load times will be cut, and I think that's about it when it comes to that, but even then, I'm not exactly sure I was going to get that, but even then, it might be true, and might be interesting so much for that. And the next game they actually announced during the PlayStation Experience 2016, it was the Parappa the Rapper 20th Anniversary Edition, which, for my understanding, is because of how Parappa the Rapper was, I believe, was first released in 1997, I believe. From, I believe, in English, and then in Japan released in 1996 or something. Although, I believe if I remember rightly, it would definitely probably be 1997, because usually Parappa the Rapper was actually a Sony mascot exclusive, so even then though, that, he'll actually gonna jump into the PlayStation 4 console in time during then. For what I've heard, it's actually a rhythm-based game, and I think I might actually give this one a try. But even then though, I haven't exactly got the original copy of the game because of the, how much expensive that was back in the day from, the PlayStation original copies. But anyway. So yeah, there's quite a lot of things I can actually just think of, to be honest, because, not to mention though, that, and also speaking of the PlayStation 4, is that the PlayStation 4 itself was now up to 3 years old at this point, because since when it first came out in 2013, and also the same with the likes of the Xbox One as well. Jeez, those two systems must have survived even much more longer than I expected. But even then, we don't know exactly when though, during when its service ends, unlike the Wii U in Japan, because the Wii U at the moment is now being endly projects in during Japan, which is a bit of unfortunate. But still, with all this rough downside of things, it's pretty nice looking system nonetheless. Okay, camera shy time.